Hello again. Well, I just ran across a recipe I haven't showed you before. I always think I've run out, but then I go, wait, I haven't shown you this, I haven't shown you that. So today you're going to get pork steak with mushroom gravy. Real easy. I have 2 pork steaks here. I always vacuum seal my meat. It keeps a whole lot longer in the freezer. So I have 2 pork steaks here. I have about a medium onion that I've cut up. This is probably a 1.5 cups or 2 cups of mushrooms. You could make them smaller if you like. I also have 4 cups of broth. I'm using a mushroom broth. I have 4 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have a 1/2 cup of cold water and 2 tablespoons of flour. This is to thicken the gravy when we get that far. I have some oil in a skillet that's warming up. All of this takes place in the same skillet. So let me show you. Now I'm going to do 2 steaks. Pork steaks are usually pretty big as far as width and length, so you need a bigger pan for this. And the thing about pork steaks is it's usually a cheaper cut of meat, so your dollar goes further. Let's let this brown on one side. While that meat is browning on one side, I'm going to add the flour, the Worcestershire sauce, and the extra water to my broth. And of course, I'm using Better Than Bullion mushroom base. This will be going into our pan. And you know, as you're cooking, you can thicken this if it's not as thick as you want. In fact, I'm not even going to add the water right now. I'll wait and see what happens. Let's go check those steaks, see if they're done on one side. I just flipped them over. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to salt and pepper them a little. Then I'm going to put on there the onions and the mushrooms. This is a very easy meal. There's only a few ingredients. I'm going to let that brown up. I'm going to give this a good chance to brown on the other side. I like it browned. I have been busy. I didn't get a video done last week. That's doing good. Let me explain this first. I'm going to pour about half of this on here. Remember, it's the flour, the mushroom broth, and Worcestershire sauce. And this is going to be, let me put this on. It's on medium heat right now. And I'm going to let it get to a simmer here. And this should thicken up a bit. If it doesn't thicken up like you like, then add just a little more flour. But let me get it to a little spot here. This is going to be a gravy, not just for the meat, but for the potatoes or rice or whatever you're using. It's a pretty simple recipe. We're just going to let it simmer covered, and I'll check it every once in a while. If the liquid is going away, I'll add more liquid. It's getting there. Now, I didn't get a video out last week because, well, I'm doing what they call a Swedish death sort or a Swedish death clean. You know, I'm 72, and if I haven't used it in 10 years, I'm probably not going to. I am getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. If any of you live in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin area, the Highway 75 rummage sales are the first weekend of June. We're going to have a big old barn sale. I'm hoping to have some empty shelves in the end. Actually, that's pretty good. I'll check it in a couple minutes. Put my lid on. I want a tight lid. Turn it down just a little. And I'll set the timer for 15 minutes and I'll check it again. And I'm going to make some rice to go with this. How do I make my rice? 2 to 1. I'm going to do 4 cups of water, 2 cups of rice. Bring it to a boil. Let it simmer for 10 minutes. Take it off the heat for 5. The other thing I want to tell you is rice freezes extremely well. There is nothing more handy than having some frozen rice in the freezer. You just pop it out. If you have, because Martin's always popping in and wanting something to eat, I can just pop that out and put anything on top of it. So I always make extra rice and freeze some. Let's go again. And by the way, when that rice comes to a boil, Put a lid on it and let it simmer for 10 minutes. Slowly simmer. Well, this is coming along nicely. It's been about 15 minutes. I'm going to let it go 30 minutes. I'm just going to make the gravy a little thicker, I think, at this point. Medium on my stove is 5. I have it on 2 now to just let it simmer. But I'm going to add a little bit more of the broth that has a little more of the flour in it. Thicken it up a bit. You just play with it this way. And you can just add the flour itself. But it looks to me like I'm going to have enough gravy. A lot of that depends on how tight your lid fits. If it doesn't fit very tight, you're letting a lot of that escape, so you would have to add more liquid. But we're going to bring this back up to a good simmer and let it go 15 more minutes. And I'll keep checking it to see how thick it is. Just another quick peek. This is just the thickness that I like. You could make it thicker if you want. You can add more of the broth and make more gravy if you like. All done. I think I cooked it for 25-30 minutes. Now, pork steaks aren't real thick. Martin will be able to finish this, and I have my gravy. And in the gravy is mushrooms, onions, put a little over here. Pork steak with gravy. Till next time, bye-bye.